Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. This is going to be another in my series of comic-related videos on buying comics that are of low grade, but major keys as an investment. So these are comics that are generally very beaten up, what would be a CGC of a 3 or less. So these are comics that normally people kind of don't really consider as an investment. And I want to show you more of a modern comic that is considered like a well-established character, and that one that has that potential for growth. And it's this is, again, I have to say this probably every time, but this video is not meant to be an investment tool. I'm not a certified investor or anything like that. This is just my opinions on this topic, and you can take that for whatever you think it's worth. But this is how I'm looking at. I'm looking at whether or not these lower grades can be a good investment. So I'm going to show you the comic that I'm talking about. It's Scooby Doo #1. This is a really rare comic, actually. When I bought it, I actually overpaid, just so you know, because I was so desperate to get this comic. I paid $325 for this. As I was saying, this comic I probably overpaid. I paid $325 for it, and it's a really rare comic though, and that's why I was willing to pay a little extra for it. Now the price has sort of gone up since I bought this comic, but it is just a really rough grade. I'm just looking at it and I'm seeing the corners all mangled. The spine's actually not too bad, believe it or not. Just that one corner and up here is a little bit iffy. It's not. It shows that it's a 2.5. Maybe if I don't know. No, there's probably nothing I could do. I was gonna say maybe if I clean it or something, it could be a higher grade. But it's rough, and that's what you get with these lower grades. They're comics that are presentable, maybe. They're a little bit rough, but they are a major key. So Scooby Doo, this is his first appearance. It's the first appearance of the whole Scooby team, I guess. Shaggy and Velma and all them. So basically, it has some major iconic characters of the 70s that we, have. There's been lots of movies, Scooby movies, and there is a kind of built up demand for this comic. Now, I'm going to show you the Census, and you can see why I think this is actually a good example of a comic that is a good investment, a potential investment. So I'll show you the Census, and we'll get into the numbers a bit. I'm going to go a little deeper than I normally do with these videos, just to show you my thinking behind this behind this comic. So, Scooby-Doo, where are you? It doesn't mention that it's the first appearances, but it is the first appearances. Actually, it says on the comic, so I'll read that. First appearance of Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, Fred, Daphne, and Velma in comics. Okay, so we'll go down here, and there are no high grades. A lot of these kid comics, these are kid-related comics, cartoon comics. Most people, when they got them, they would just like roll them up, or they would be pretty harsh on them, and it's really hard to find those high grades. So there isn't really a super high grade one on the Census that you can compare with. The highest grade is a 9.2, and there's 2.94s, but they're really like just nobody's selling them. They're like hidden hidden gems, and I imagine if they sold, they'd probably go for quite a lot. Just because of the fact that they are so rare. There's only 244 of Scooby-Doo #1s on the Census at all. And just to give you a sense, that is fairly similar to what you would expect from a Golden Age comic. So this is as rare as a Golden Age comic, and it's a fairly modern comic. It is a Bronze Age comic, but it's fairly modern. So yeah, if you notice, mine's a 2.5. I paid, this is the last sale. I bought it in July of 2020, and you can see that the price that I paid is the fair market value. So yeah, I sort of established the fair market value for a 2.5. To me, what this shows is that a 3.0 probably has some room to grow because it's sort of in between. I always kind of expect a 3.0 to be sort of in between these two numbers. So it probably could go up to like a $400 book. That would be my expectation for a 3.0. So if you can get it under 400, you're probably getting a good deal. Now, if we go deeper into the numbers, so we know that there's 244 of them on the census. Most of them are low grade, obviously. And the typical value price is around 300 or less for CGC low grade copy. So let's go into the numbers. And you can see the sales history is very, very low. The demand actually is quite high for this book because a lot of children, they grow up, watching Scooby Doo or watching the cartoons. There's been multiple series. And when they grow up, they want to pick up the first appearance of those characters in comics. So there is that demand. And you'll notice the prices, the fair market values are all in the green, all going up. Even that 3.0, as I said, has a lot of potential for growth. And it's showing that these lower grades have that huge potential of growth. 300% growth. That's pretty crazy. 200%. Okay, so lots of growth there. And mine, obviously, there's only been one sale of the 2.5. There's no sales of the lower ones, so we don't know what those would go for. But you can see that, because there was only one sale, well, there's not much growth there. This is the way it is. And then we get into the GPA analysis. And we can see, like, here is like, there's been 192 that sold back in 2020 and sold for 6,000. And it's just, there hasn't been that many sales. It's like one sale, one sale, one sale. There's been a bunch of 7.0s that have sold. And it just, you can see all the arrows are up, except for this one where, this is probably somebody got a good deal. Okay. A few people got a good deal on that one. But you can see these low grades. There has been a sale February of 2020 for $200. This is my sale right here, July of 2020. This is a 3.0, and it's sold in May, so earlier. And then this one is like the sales in December of 2020. So these are the most recent sales of a low grade comic. And you can see that the prices have all gone up, except for this one. Somebody got a good deal. And even that is fair market value. That's considered fair market value of $350. So really, the sales show that it's a very stable book, not really spiking. It is going up, sure, and that's what you see with a lot of these gold, like sort of blue chip comics, where the prices kind of go up, and they you'll see that, right? All the prices are kind of going up, but you'll see a little bit of a skew because it's a rarer comic that people just want to get a copy of it. And those low grades will actually get a little bit higher of a spike. And it's just because people just want to get that entry level book. They don't really care about the grade. They do want a high grade, but they just want to get something that's affordable, and they'll generally try to pick it up in any grade possible. So any grade is better than no grade. So you'll see that the lower grades are kind of spiking as a result. And it kind of reflects in the numbers. So as an investment, I could probably resell this maybe slightly higher than even a 3 listed on here. I could probably sell it for 350 or 340 or, in that range where I could make a little bit of a profit, not huge profit, So as I said, this is the point of this video is really to show how there's some of these blue chips that are very stable. They're a stable investment. It's not like you're going to win big sometimes, but they are ones that will increase greater than inflation. So there are ones that you'll generally make money over time on. And that is really the whole point of investing. You want to pick safe investments that will go up over time. And the good thing about comics is generally they are kind of like safe investments if you buy the right ones that have these kind of established characters. And there's also the opportunity for the spike. So for example, if Scooby Doo has a new movie, like if there's a new movie about Scooby Doo, then the book could spike. Or if new video game or new TV series, the book can spike. And also what happens whenever those things happen, even if there's not there will generally be an immediate spike, but what happens is you're building up collectors that will buy in the future. So generally with these cartoon ones especially, what happens is people become nostalgic when they're older. Like me, I was nostalgic to Scooby Doo. I grew up, Saturday morning cartoons and watching Scooby Doo and getting all excited to watch Scooby Doo. And it's always the same show, but it was cool to watch. I loved Scooby Doo. It was fun to watch. They would always do the silly things, and it was fun. So the point is, people get nostalgic for those comics or cartoons that they watched when they were kids. And, you'll see like 20, 30 years later, you'll get that uptick where people are trying to pick up a little bit of their childhood. And you'll see that probably like there was a show that ran in the early 2000s, probably in 10 years time, those kids that watch that will be trying to find this book. So that's kind of the cool thing about these really established blue chip comics, is that you will always have that nostalgia and people trying to pick it up. And it'll be one of those ones that holds its value in the short term and in the long term. So that's really the point that I'm trying to make with these investment videos, is kind of look for these opportunities for comics that really can hold their value over time. And these are ones where, as I said, with my other videos as well, is the reason I buy low grade is that's the grade that I can afford. And a lot of people that try to get into these comics buy it for the same reason. They want something that they can afford. And as a risk in terms of investment, these low grades actually offer that safe risk. It's a low budget thing. You don't have to spend millions of dollars. You just have to spend like a few $100s. And it makes it a fairly, minimal risk. The worst case scenario is maybe it goes down 10% or 20%, or even becomes half as valuable. Well, you lose $100. Not a big deal. But if you had a huge investment where you buy like a 9.8, so a $6,000 book or a $10,000 book, and it goes down by 50%, well, that is a huge loss. So really the point is these lower graded ones, you can kind of hedge your bets a bit and, buy a few that can go up over time. If you buy wisely and really look at the numbers that I did, and you can kind of buy safely and, and really cut your losses where you don't really have a huge amount invested in it, and you can do quite well as a result. So I hope you enjoy these videos. I'm always trying to experiment with new ideas that I want to get out there in terms of the videos that I create. So check out my other videos. They're not always about investing. I'm more of a lover of comics and I talk about my love of comics. So check out my other videos. If you like the investment ones, check out those as well. There's dozens of those now. So just check out my videos, and thanks for watching.